Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Am I the Arsehole Culture Clash and says, am I the arsehole for imposing my culture even though I thought I was just being nice? Even though I, 23 female, am American, my parents are immigrants and therefore I have a different cultural upbringing than most. One thing that was hammered into my head from a young age was to always bring a small gift when visiting anyone's house. It doesn't matter if it's family or friends or that one person you kind of know but don't really like. Bringing something is a must. My boyfriend, 28 male, and I have been dating for almost 4 years now. And since we both work from home, he suggested we make dinner with his parents a weekly thing, since we haven't been able to see each other much for obvious reasons. I love his parents, so obviously I agreed. Every week I made sure to bring something small to show my appreciation for them cooking for us, always using my own money, a small bottle of wine, their favorite dessert, some flowers, etc. And they always thanked me for it. This has been going on for a few months. I absolutely didn't notice anything out of the ordinary until yesterday, when my boyfriend and I were preparing to head over. I'd gotten a cute vase of daffodils since luckily I'd found some in bloom, and my boyfriend's mum really loves them. But my boyfriend suddenly got really mad and asked why I kept bringing stuff over every week like his parents are a charity case. Honestly, I got super confused and asked him what the problem was, and that I've always done this with everyone, including his friends since we met. And it was a cultural thing, but then he got even madder and told me to stop imposing my culture on everyone, and it's weird since I'm white. At that point I didn't like going anywhere with him and just gave him the flowers and went for a walk while he drove over to dinner by himself. After he came home, he still had the flowers, which he gave to me and told me he was sorry. His parents really were super annoyed with me constantly bringing stuff over, like they can't take care of themselves. And later on I got a text from his dad asking me not to come over for dinner anymore. Now my boyfriend's giving me the cold shoulder unless I give his parents a huge apology. I really, truly don't feel like I'm in the wrong for trying to be nice to them. Am I the arsehole? Why am I getting bullshit vibes from the boyfriend in this? He's told the parents something completely different or something along those lines. I mean, it just sounds like he's jealous that the parents really like OP. That's the way it's coming across to me, which is really weird in itself. And I'm not sure if it will go along those lines, but they thanked you for months and suddenly after having one conversation with their son, you're banned. I mean, wild, right? I think it's absolutely lovely that you take a small gift every time you go to visit someone. I think it's a really thoughtful and sweet thing to do. But Bootsy says to OP, his dad texts you. The father of nearly a 30-year-old man texts you to tell you you are no longer welcome at their home because of basically post gifts. No, not the arsehole. This dude and his family suck. OP says, well, he didn't say anything about the gifts, just to not come over for dinner. My boyfriend told me they rejected the flowers and told him to tell me that, which made me sad. Berry Warrior says, wouldn't really trust your boyfriend on what he is saying. Maybe talk to his parents directly because your boyfriend may have told them something that would make them act like this around you. Opie says, I'm overwhelmed right now. Why would he lie? He's never done anything like this before and even helped me pick out gifts a few times. Duck and Golden says, he would lie because in his mind, he concocted a whole untrue situation and wants someone to validate it. I'm not sure where he pulled this narrative out of, but it sounds like he has let it fester. It's just too coincidental that he blew up on you about the gift, and suddenly his parents are upset when no one has said anything before. It really does point to him spreading the false narrative to make his point sound real. Opie says he's refusing to answer any of my questions now and threw the flowers out. Now I'm just getting mad. I have no idea why there's this sudden change in behavior, but I'm going to make him sit down with me and have a talk about why this all happened all of a sudden. Lotus Eater says, imagine this, when his friends ask him why they broke up, he has to say that she gave his parents gifts. The horror. What a fill in blank here. Opie says, I'm not breaking up with him. He's the man I want to marry. He may be mad right now, but all I want is for things to be normal again. I just started bugging him about going over to his parents so I can apologize, but he wants me to do it by text, which I don't understand. Commodore says, I think he wants you to apologize by text so you don't find out that he's told his parents something completely untrue. If you get together in person, you'll have the opportunity to check stories with each other. Also, I know you don't want to hear this, but please don't marry this man. Opie says, I'm getting him off his game right now and we'll sit down with him for a talk. Simply put, he's acting like a brat right now, and I want to know why he doesn't want me talking to his parents. Opie then adds a small update within the comments and says, I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed right now and just making a quick comment because all of you are being so nice. Sat my boyfriend down after dragging him off his game and grilled him about what was happening, but he said I was being crazy when I started all this and to just let us write a text to his parents apologizing. I said no, and that we would go over to apologize, but he started freaking out, which was the final straw. He's doing everything to get me to stay home, but I'm going over and sorting this out since I tried calling anyway, but the number's out of order. Some more responses before I leave. I'm sorry I can't answer everyone. My parents are from the Caribbean, and he's very American, but he and his family has never been racist or anything before. They are actually much more well off than me, and my gifts are never expensive since I pay for them on my own, which is why I'm now very suspicious of them behaving this way. The reason only the dad texted me is because his parents aren't super tech savvy and share a simple phone he picked out for them. I know there's a bit of an age gap, but I pursued the relationship myself because he asked me out casually at work as a frequent customer, and I accepted. Commenter replies to that saying, oh buddy, here's hiding a doozy of a lie. Oh, I love a doozy, and you are very close to unraveling it. Trust your instincts and talk to his parents directly. Do not let him convince you that you are crazy and need to do things his way. Jade replies saying, yeah, sounding to me like he used a number spoofing app to text us saying he was his dad. We'll see after an update, hopefully. Ooh, bloody hell, that's getting deep here. Ash says, and quotes saying, I tried calling anyway, but the number's out of order, and then says, has his dad ever communicated with you before using this number? Because it sounds like the boyfriend sent that text. I'm willing to bet that his family has no idea what is going on. And a final commenter says, here's what I think is happening. Unfortunately, let's hope it's not the case, but I believe your boyfriend is cheating on you. Everyone here sees how odd this behavior is, even after you explain to him that it's a cultural thing and you're doing it with good manners. He is still adamant and pissed off. Think about it. Who the hell gets mad over giving gifts? The reason I believe he is cheating is because of how he's approaching the situation. When someone tries to quit on a relationship and does not want to admit it, they begin creating problems and conflicts out of ridiculous and simple things. You said so yourself. You've been doing this since you've met and now it's a problem? My guess is that he doesn't know how to break it off with you and chose the most ridiculous excuse. You give him gifts to his parents to create a problem and a rift amongst you. Even if this isn't the case, what he is doing is extremely suspicious. He's lying about something. I also believe that it was your boyfriend who sent the text instead of his dad. How coincidental that when you tried to call, the phone was out of order. How suspicious of him to be so stubborn to make you stay home. Talk with his parents, trust your instincts, and do what you must do. You deserve so much better. Bloody hell, this is getting wild. But Opie comes in with a final update and says, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for the overwhelming support and replies on my first post. I'm looking forward to going over to everyone's houses for dinner, and I'll be sure to bring all the things like you said you liked. Many flower lovers out there. I'm now also apparently the daughter-in-law to a lot of hopeful parents that replied as well, so I hope I can deliver on expectations. After my last updates, I told my boyfriend I was sick and tired of him dancing around the issue with his parents, and I was going to go over to their house whether he liked it or not. At this point, I think he realized that whatever he was doing had backfired, so he sat down all angry and told me he'd explain. I sat and he told me that he'd done something very spur of the moment and that he'd texted me from his dad's phone, then blocked the number but begged me to listen. That he just needs to get his parents off me for a while and to not leave. Apparently his parents had started hinting at him about marriage since my boyfriend and I talked a lot about it. I fully expected to marry him, as I said in another comment, and was honestly expecting a proposal in late spring, since that's when we met. 4 years dating didn't bother me, but I was getting excited to settle down. However, my boyfriend apparently realized that he absolutely didn't want to commit to anything and wanted to experiment and have fun since I wasn't being fun anymore. Honestly, that just made me cry, since we're each other's first for everything and usually very good at communicating our needs. His grand plan was to get him mad at me so I would beg for forgiveness, and then he'd only accept an open relationship as an answer. Oh bloody hell, absolute brilliant plan, I know. He'd made up his parents getting mad but didn't expect me to blow off dinner completely, and it's like hitting a jackpot. His words, not mine. He went over for dinner, hid the flowers and said we'd got into a huge fight but he was going to fix it, but I needed space. After he confessed all this, he said he was very sorry but really didn't want to miss out on new experiences, and he was still young and would I consider an open relationship, but pretend ours was strained with his parents so they wouldn't get suspicious. And I laughed. I laughed his ass right out the door and told him absolutely not, and to leave me alone while I packed because I wanted to have some new experiences too. He never stopped begging me to stay, but I left to sleep at a friend's. After calming down for a few days, I cemented the breakup and finally actually went over to his parents. My ex-boyfriend's dad never even noticed the phone was missing but still apologized, and his mum was a mess. I did and still love them, and will eat dinner there without him as often as I can. I won't lie that I'm sad about 4 years down the drain, but that's life. And if that was my ex's best possible plan, then I dodged the bullet by a mile. Opie also adds in the comments a few quick answered questions. Yes, my boyfriend's parents do share a phone. I don't find it particularly strange since they use Facebook, video chat friends, play Candy Crush etc. on their iPads and don't have much use for a phone. They find iPads easier to use and also go everywhere together. Very cute, I know. So if someone really does need to call them, the other is right there. Previously, my boyfriend had absolutely no problem whatsoever with me bringing gifts anywhere. Like I said in a comment, he helped me pick things out before, and is usually great at communicating whenever he feels we need to talk about something, which is why I was so confused with him. He knows it's how I was raised and was respectful to every other aspect of my upbringing. His parents are not poor and raised him with good manners and etiquette. I saw a lot of other people comment on what I was bringing, and no, I wasn't bringing gigantic vases with wilted flowers or an entire cake or multiple bottles of the same type of wine every week. Whenever I did bring something edible, it was small and we usually consume it with dinner, and as for the flowers, I'd usually just leave them in the plastic wrap they came in with water. The vase was a rare thing that my boyfriend's mum could have used for dozens of things since it was a clear glass. Commenter says to OP, good riddance. It sucks that you wasted 4 years on this idiot, but at least this came out before you got married or had kids. Stay 100% no contact with him and do not take him back no matter how much he begs you to get back together, which he inevitably will. Opie says I've blocked him on absolutely everything at the insistence of my friends. He's going to tell all of them that we'd fought as well, but ever since the breakup they've all told him what a mistake it was and thankfully been on my side. He must be absolutely miserable right now. Rowan ever says, well, isn't that some impressive ass foolery? That's your ex's idea of a cunning plan. I'd hate to see his badly thought out flops. Yeesh. Good on you for staying true to yourself through all of this. I'm glad you're out of it. Best of luck finding a new place and rebuilding the parts of your life you thought he was integral to. Opie says I really can't believe he thought it would work. If he'd talked to me seriously, I'm sure we could have figured something out, but instead he did that. WTF says, so based on the ages, your partner was a 24-year-old virgin that found a 19-year-old and then 4 years later tried to manipulate you into an open relationship. Nothing wrong with being a virgin at that age, by the way. Worse yet, this manipulation included his own parents. Your partner sounds like a previous possible incel who has convinced himself that he could get so many girls now. I'm glad you put yourself first, and he can see how successful he is. When he strikes out, please do not take him back. He showed you how he really feels about you. Opie says I really wouldn't call him an incel, but honestly, who knows what he's hiding in that head of his at this point. We both took the intimate part slowly, since he was nervous, but I wouldn't doubt he thought he could get a lot of women since he makes a good amount of money. Oh well, not my problem anymore. And the final commenter said, wow, just wow. I honestly can't believe your ex-boyfriend. He wanted his cake and to eat it too. What on earth he thought that would work, I have no idea. Congrats on being rid of him. Go live your life. Have fun. Go get new experiences. Oh my bloody... The absolute effort he went through to do all this as well. The process in itself, I find it fascinating. He created this whole fake crisis, if you like, pretending to be his dad, blocked your number, made up lies about his parents being offended, all because he wanted to manipulate her into an open relationship, thinking that if he could make her desperate enough to fix things, she'd agree to let him sleep around while keeping her at the same time. It's just lost for words. At some point in the past, he sat down and come up with this and thought, that's a bloody good idea, that. What a Burke. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story, shall we? And straight after this one, I spotted I think it's going to be low stakes story about office drama about biscuits, basically the equivalent to cookies in the US. And when we're talking about biscuits, you know I got to get involved, right? This one's from Helicopter Far 1433 with the title Office Drama Chapter: Evil Biscuit Takers. Someone brought in a half pack of biscuits from their holiday last week and left them at the tea point next to their cup while they went to the loo. It's generally customary that if you bring in a little treat, like some foreign biscuits to share with the office, they get left by the tea point. However, it now transpires that these biscuits are quite hard to get a hold of and were a gift from a friend that they visited on holiday. Therefore, she had no intention of sharing and had simply put them next to a mug so as not to carry them into the toilet. Alas, in the short amount of time it took her to return from the loo, all of the biscuits have been eaten. I am not exaggerating when I say that Biscuit Lady is losing her shit. Lots of people in the office are feeling very bad, and I, for one, am finding the office drama more delicious than the biscuit I was not supposed to eat. Oh dear. Anyone else have a lovely tale of people in offices having a meltdown over a minor misunderstanding? Commenter says, I have questions. How many roughly were in the packet? How did they all go in the short time they were left unattended? Were they nice? Who is she specifically frustrated with? I think she has no leg to stand on, to be honest. How was one supposed to know that this particular pack of biscuits wasn't meant to be shared? Was it even open already? Opie says 10, possibly 2/3 of the original quantity. We're a very treat-happy office and it was peak brewing time. Yes, chocolate, cinnamon, and orange. And she was mad at everyone, including herself, but mostly everyone else, especially the evil biscuit takers. Commenter shares their story saying someone brought in something from their freezer for lunch and left it on the side to defrost. Someone else saw it on the side, noted the use-by date was ages ago and threw it away, not knowing it had been frozen. First person now had no dinner and proper kicked off with the thrower-awayer. I think someone cried. It was excellent drama for all of 5 minutes. Another commenter says one manager was very bad for just taking a chewing gum from someone's desk if she saw it and they were not there. Came back from the loo to her on the verge of screaming and dry retching. Turns out she was not a fan of the salt licorice flavor gum I brought back from Norway. Another commenter says, for the packet to have gone in such a short space of time, you guys must be absolute savages. I would probably lose my shit too. Not a nice thing to have happened, but I'd probably already know that I worked with immoral piranhas and wouldn't leave biscuits unattended. Commenter replies saying, British office workers and exotic bickies, like moths to a flame. Another commenter says, to be fair, I want to know what a moral piranha would be. Another commenter says, on one hand, I fully sympathize with believing that biscuits in the tea area are fair game. On the other hand, for the entire remaining packet to disappear in minutes, it takes someone to have a pee. You must have descended like a pack of jackals. You couldn't have left a polite one behind. I've got visions of old cartoons where termites destroy a house and just leave a few bits of dust. Everyone broke the social contract here. Her not sharing something in the sharing area, and you all for not doing the leave at least one for latecomers dance. HR should sack you all. block you all on Facebook, and see you in the gym. A commenter says, so, Mr. X, thank you for applying for this job. Can you tell us about a time at a previous job where you were faced with a difficult problem that you managed to overcome? Well, yes, I can. I once worked in a warehouse. A sandwich van would come to our trading estate at around 11 a.m., offering a selection of handmade sandwiches, crisps, soft drinks, and confectionery. We in the warehouse would usually see the arrival of the van because we had the bay doors open, awaiting any deliveries. Unbeknownst to us, our colleague Dave would go out and shout, "Sandwich van!" upstairs to the people in the upstairs office. So the people in the upstairs office would know of its arrival. Then Dave went on holiday without appointing a delegate to shout "Sandwich van" up the stairs. Most of us didn't even know he did it. To be fair, it wasn't listed on his official duties, and he hadn't mentioned it in his handover meeting before he went away. Unfortunately, on his first day of absence, "Sandwich van" didn't get shouted upstairs, and some of the office staff went a bit biscuit lady. There were accusations, some blame shifting, and a general feeling of bad will between departments. The word betrayal might have even been bandied about. After that unpleasant incident, I took it upon myself to be the office backup sandwich van shouter up the stairs in Dave's absence. I was pleased to take on this additional responsibility to help maintain strained relations between our departments. I'm proud to report that I executed my duties diligently and flawlessly. No office worker went hungry on my watch. Another commenter says, years ago, a bunch of bacon rolls were delivered to our office and left in a breakout area. Being the massive vultures I work with, people descended on them and left not even a crumb. I didn't have one. After this, a snotty email came out from my friend who ordered them for a team meeting. Another commenter says, work gave everyone fairly decent, identical company branded glass Tupperware as a Christmas gift. We've not even been back a month and 2 people have had their lunches eaten by the older guys whose wives packed their lunches. With the excuse, I thought it was mine as in the same container, or she didn't tell me what it was in, I just assumed it was mine. First time was met with begrudging understanding. Second time there were some tense words and an email company-wide about labeling lunch in a communal fridge. I'm expecting a full-blown civil war on the third time. Just hoping it happens before I go off for holiday in February. OP did update the post and says, after a number of senior staff got involved, things have calmed down somewhat. Suggestions that someone fly to Greece to obtain and replace the biscuits have been discounted and unfeasible. Instead, all of the unauthorized biscuit eaters are being asked to make voluntary contribution to a replacement packet of biscuits to be posted by Biscuit Lady's friend. Biscuit Lady, absent of a brew time treat, went out to lunch early. No sign of her in the building, so we think she grudge ate sandwiches in her car. I'm on the hook for about £1, but the biscuit was very tasty, so I'm not feeling aggrieved. However, word has spread on the quality of the biscuits, so if they see daylight in this office, all hell may break loose. In the meantime, I owe an apology and some bridge building is in my future. Ooh, I may be in trouble for laughing at this one. There's some proper angry comments below some of those posts. I was shocked at how quickly they took those biscuits. I mean, in the time from someone going for a pee, those biscuits were gone. That's wild in itself. I've worked in an office where I was a warehouseman at the time, and there was an upstairs call center at the same time, and there was IT and various other departments all around, and the kitchen was in the center. Not a big kitchen. Occasionally people would bring in treats and snacks, and sometimes the company would order food to be brought in, like, donuts or whatever. A company email would go round. And I worked in the warehouse, so we didn't have a computer in there, but you knew when there was food in the office. You could hear like the upstairs floors go doo, 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 and everyone running down the stairs. It was absolute chaos. And there was one point where they did have to put a pause on it because some people were going down there and taking 2 donuts or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was, but they was taking too much of whatever it was, and some people wasn't getting any, which was just creating a whole bunch of other drama. I generally just stayed away from the kitchen in those moments because I can't be dealing with that. British and biscuits though, yeah, we're absolute animals with them. Well, most of us anyway. Oh, maybe just me. It's serious business for me. Custard creams being my favourite, of course, but if you want a biscuit that's a good dunker for your coffee or your tea, go for a hobnob. They will just absorb your drink though. But never trust a rich tea dunking. they will ruin your day. Let me just throw that warning out there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Maybe you had a little bit of office kitchen drama. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, listen to me talk absolute shit. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.